Great morning, everyone. This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. As we get going here this morning, I just want to say how much I am grateful for all of you. I like plugging into the vibe of the group every day, and you guys are just all one really positive and really just a really, your outlook on life is wonderful. It's treasured, and I'm grateful for it. I don't think that it's normal that we have this type of environment together to share in. And I don't want to take it for granted. I'm really grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you for always giving me that beautiful perspective on life. Thank you for bringing a smile to my face. Thank you for the good vibes. Definitely appreciate and value every one of us and this community that we have here created together. So as we get going this morning, there was a question about MicroStrategy and what we think of it as an ETF play on Bitcoin. And I don't think of MicroStrategy as an ETF play on Bitcoin. Now, it's true. If you, if, for example, you're having trouble buying Grayscale, and, that exists. I have someone or other who's got, who's situated down in Panama, and they were able not, through their business, through the public markets, not able to buy Grayscale. They needed to have, I think it was a $500,000 purchase needed. Otherwise, they couldn't buy it. Yeah, that person could buy MicroStrategy as a play. But MicroStrategy is a tech company. And all as they were doing was they were taking all this cash they have and putting that cash to its best use. Keeping it in dollars, it would have been devalued away. They couldn't do that. They checked out gold. Michael Seidler is giving great arguments on why over a big time horizon, why Bitcoin and not gold. Makes complete sense. Listen to it in the Raul Real Vision interview if you're not familiar with it. He got Raul to sell all his gold, right? It's a good argument. But they're just putting their money in their reserves, a place where it needs to be. I don't really think of it as a Bitcoin ETF. It's a tech company. And I hope we see a lot more companies, not only tech companies, do that in the future. Let's start off here with a couple of things. DXY this morning is a bit unchanged off its lows, but these lows were coming after bleeding out, right? Very nice to see the new yearly low being printed on the DXY. This is the dollar index, heavily weighted towards the euro. I like to consult the DXY to get an overall feel of the dollar. I don't trade it at all. And if you're looking to trade the DXY, you're better off trading, right? The inverse, the euro US dollar, but this helps give me an edge with all dollar pairs. Now, you can see that I'm targeting right over here, 90.83 next. As we come into that, we'll look what's below that, because below that is a big 88.40. All that seems like it is reasonable. So not much else to say here. The dollar is just retracing a little bit. That's going to give some setups, potential setups, perhaps on the euro US dollar, perhaps on the Australian dollar, US dollar. We'll check that all out together. We have a couple of charts to go over. Alan shared this chart this morning on Ethereum, Bitcoin. We'll take a look at that. We'll also take a look here at DOT. Both of those look like they're getting ready to set up. A couple of charts from Heath as well. By the way, right now, if you're not receiving, Heath is sharing regular FX updates with us. If you're not already on the Telegram broadcast channel, right now in the description below is a link. Sign up so that you do get all of those updates which come out regularly. All right, let's see what's going on around. Let's start over here on the S&P 500. Finally getting a bit of a pullback. Nice. That's what we're looking for. The first thing I want to check off is see what happened with the Russell, because that was in jeopardy last night, right? I was looking at the Russell over here coming off, and look at that. It's towards its lows. That was the best from the indexes, the best swing trade that I saw. Interesting that all of the indexes definitely have this like bullish technical, I don't want to say feel about them. And the Russell was giving the weak signal here and now falling a little bit into profit. All right. What about on the S&P 500? What I'm noticing is this. By the way, this was beautiful, this consolidation over here. Then we made a leg up, consolidated again, broke out of it, consolidated in this bull flag, had a bit of a fake down, came back out of it, and what's happening now? Again, that beautiful consolidation. This is actually giving an opportunity here for anyone that's looking to go long to go with that momentum. So that looks all orderly and nice. And the same thing here on the Nasdaq. After making new all-time high yesterday, both the S&P and the Nasdaq, none of them sticking, closing at all-time highs, but nevertheless printed the new all-time high. Now just pulling back, also getting ready for a resumption. I kind of like when you have these conflicting signals here. S&P, Nasdaq look very healthy. You can see the Russell. We'll check out the Dow in 1 second. Russell giving an opportunity here, right? If it doesn't go anywhere, right? The whole thing about trading is that you're managing risk, right? You're managing risk. So you could take 2 trades with conflicting signals. Now, I don't say never. I rarely do it. This whole year, 2020, I did it twice on FX. For example, I could have been going long on the Euro US dollar and short on the Euro Japanese yen. Now, generally, a good conclusion of a trade like that will be that one of those trades goes into profit and the other is stopped out at a small loss, or better, a break even. The worst thing that could happen is both are stopped out for a small loss. Very rare, both would go on to profit, but it could happen. Let's check out the Dow as we get going here this morning as well. And the Dow looks good coming back into this trend line, very orderly. You could see it's only the Russell, which is showing a little bit of signs of perhaps concern. And the big three, they all look very healthy. By the way, we had a huge miss on employment numbers. Look at this. We have a weak ISM employment, weak initial claims, and now weaker than expected ADP. But who would have expected different? Who would have expected different? It seems to me that whatever plan is trying to be carried out, they're doing it with precision and success. So that's that. We'll get back into that when it warrants it. We don't need to really focus in on that right now. Also, just watch over here. This has been a nice breakdown over here, looking to come back up and test, right? Now, you would think that the next bit of resistance is all the way down up here at 91.82. But notice what's happened so far intraday is that we've came back down, spiked up into that last bit of touch down over here, and now potentially resuming off of it if you make lower lows. We could get further momentum. Heath pointed out this morning this chart over here of Australian dollar, Swiss franc. Look at the Swiss franc here appreciating. First, this is a risk-on currency. The rest of the markets look risk-on. Swiss franc showing a little bit of signs. Does that have anything to do with gold move? I wonder. We'll look at that a little bit later in the session. But at the same time, look at the Swiss franc versus the Japanese yen. And that right there is a beautiful, beautiful triangle chart pattern. It's what we do, right? It's trading price alone off support and resistance with the help of trend lines and chart patterns. There's a chart pattern right over here. It's a beautiful one. Now, this is giving right now the opportunity could be green lighted for potential entry here on the retest and resumption off. I would not have had an entry inside the triangle pattern, right? Because it wasn't off of support, you know, if you were looking to go up, or resistance if you were looking to go down. The trade kind of bursted out of the dead center. So now's the time to be watching it. Before we get going, Alan posted this chart here of Polkadot Bitcoin, and I want you to see over here, you all know these long sloping trend lines over here usually provide the turn in the market. Over here, you could see the breakout. Look at that retest and then resumption, right? Conquering the markets all day long. A lot of traders, they like to play the breakouts and the breakdowns. Those are such low probability trades. If you just correct that one mistake and only take the retest and the resumption, you'll drastically start improving your results. But look what happened over here. We've came back down, right? Look at this consolidation that's occurring. The beautiful, again, trend line slope. A breakout above here could really set off the next move. It's a good time as far as looking at where we are in the cycle. This is the very, very beginnings of Altseason over here. And it's probable, nothing is a given in investments. Be prepared, do your research, do your homework. but it seems to me this is going to be the moment in time here where it really becomes obvious that alts are outperforming Bitcoin. Here's one to watch. And another one over here is, thanks for both crosses, Alan, is Ethereum and Bitcoin. Why this is very nice over here is because all of us together, the last time we looked at Alan's chart, he sent it to us. It was right over here, right? Brandon was also watching this very same thing over here. And then boom, since then we've broken out of that descending wedge with authority. Here's the breakout. Here's the retest into the nearest support. This is when something's very strong, by the way, when the retest doesn't come all the way back into the trend line. And if it does, that's a great trade. Go back and look at gold. I think it was, I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to say, I don't remember. But when you come back for less of a pullback, it just shows the strength of the move. And then over here, we've came back down. And since we've been consolidating, it looks like we're getting ready for the next move now. Now, probability suggests this move is going to be to the upside. That doesn't mean that you should go ahead and buy right now because there is no edge. And from a trader standpoint, from looking at trading as a business, it's something that you want to be able to do for years and years and for the rest of your life. I know myself, it's not as if I'm ever going to retire. Are you kidding? I find the markets absolutely fascinating. It's an amazing way to be able to display creativity, to get a workout for that brain. There's no way that I'm ever retiring, right? If you want to stick around and be able to say that too, you have to take trades with well-defined risk, not take risks, right? But be risk adverse. Wait for the breakout over here to the upside if this is something that you are interested in. Yeah. So Roberto's asking a question of whether or not we think Bitcoin could take out the new all-time high here. Not even all-time high, if it could take out 20,000. I mean, Roberto, look. Right now, we're at a very interesting space right here. We're hugging this line of resistance, okay? I'm going to pull back for 1 second, and you come back over to there, and you can see that we're just hugging. We're not above, we're not below this line of resistance. It's an important level because if we do resume off of it, then clearly we're going to take out 20,000 and probably targeting somewhere around 22, 23,000. That is kind of abnormal. I was expecting as we came into this blue box over here, as we printed the new cycle all-time highs, that we would experience a pullback. Well, we did, but it was only 16%, right? So now I have to look at what's going on in the market and say, all right, well, I understood that this 20% drawdown occurred over here coming into the halving because we had just come up. This was 60%, by the way. I understood that let me zoom in a little bit, that this 20% drawdown occurred because we just had a 60% abnormal one. But then we've had another 20% drawdown, and now only a 16% drawdown is something different. I don't know. I have to really just be aware that the drawdowns so far are less and less. I do expect a 30% drawdown going forward, but the possibility exists that they don't come, and I better start accumulating in at 15 and 20%. That's all a possibility. But could Bitcoin go to 20,000 and or 30,000 from here? In a heartbeat. There's nothing that's preventing it from it. At the same time, we're just super cautious. We could go either way from here. We're back where we were at 9,500. Let me remove these things for now on. We don't need them anymore. When we were at 10,500, we could have gone either way. That's exactly where we were. When we were right over here at 10,500 in this blue box, we could have broke down or went up. We're in the same thing. There's really a 50-50 from here. Of course, we have momentum on our side over here, but it's 50-50. I don't know what's going to happen from over here. I sincerely don't, right? However, from here to here, this was clear to us, right? From here to here, this huge 70-80% move was as clear as day. It's not clear right now. I do not have a crystal ball. Thank you so much for just supporting me, letting me know that that's appreciated. Those afternoon updates are very important. No matter what's going on in my life, I make sure to touch base with all of you. It's very important to me, as are you all. So what else is going on here this minute? Just trying to catch up really quick, and then I'm going to keep going back into my monologue of a flow, and then we will look at the EU monthly. Let's check out the Euro US dollar. Heath on his weekly update had brought everyone's attention to here. You should be following those videos if you're not. And we're just going to check out the monthly chart over here. I forget whether it was a weekly or a monthly, right? There's the monthly chart on the Euro US dollar. Let's just get a bird's eye view. Wow. What does this remind you of, by the way? This reminds me of palladium or platinum. We'll check out. Let me come right back to this. Just let me show you what I'm seeing. Dun, dun, dun. You see that nice orderly channel? Like orderly. When I say orderly, what I mean was that it's big and beautiful, right? There it is. And now check out the Euro US dollar on the monthly chart. So it's the same fractal that's playing out, just on such a big time difference. Here's on the monthly chart. And again, that's a nice, big, orderly consolidation pattern. Here we are, you know, the dollar just continues to break down versus is everything, you know. And what's the best way to play that? What's the best way to play the weaker dollar at this point in time? I think everyone should have the answer to that question. But let's look at what's going on over here. A couple of things that I want to bring to mind. Right now, we are back into clear skies. We have broken out of this multi-month since first week of August consolidation over here. Tried to break it to the downside once. We're now breaking out here to the upside. Let's talk about it because now it is definitely in play. US dollar as it's breaking down outside of that huge, huge range, multi-month consolidation period. It's in play here to the downside. Now, obviously, I'm waiting for a pullback on here. But what I want to look at is this. Here's what I want to look at. This wasn't on my radar. Maybe it was on yours. And if it wasn't, let's make sure it is on the future. All right? That's all we're going to do right now. So right now, I'm looking for a pullback. And if we're able to go ahead and hold this horizontal broken resistance as support or that trend line over there, that's definitely an opportunity there for me, and I like it. I want to show you what I wasn't looking at, what I should have been looking at, and the same thing with all of you, right? So let's come back and focus over here at this trend line right over here, this horizontal resistance, right? And that was resistance for quite a while, right? We tried one, we tried twice, but we have many touches, and then again over here, another touch, and then we're consolidating right over here. Once we broke out over here and tested that, and by the way, this trend line over here, that was added before we came in and touched that over here. I haven't moved that. We came in and touched the area that we expected we were going to find resistance and pulled back. But a couple of things were happening over here. We had now the signal that we were breaking towards the upside of the range again, right? As we came down into the expected place, we were looking for that initial pullback and then held this broken resistance as support. Every single one of us should have been looking for the long trade right there. Every single one of us, myself included, should have been looking for the long trade right there. I think reviewing stuff like this is way more important than reviewing all the trades that I and you get correctly. In my opinion, this is what helps me the most in going forward, in bettering myself, and making sure something similar presents itself next time in real time, that I'm there to take advantage of it. And you could see what happened was the perfect retest, resumption off, conquering the markets all day long. By the way, horizontal support and resistance always carry more weight than any trend line and or chart pattern. All right. What else are we looking at today? Let's check out let's check out first what's going on over here with copper. All right, copper is still, like, now after yesterday green lighting it, very orderly pullback so far, setting up over here for a possible entry now or for a resumption off of there. Looks very good over here. It's very extended, but it looks like it should keep going over here. There was talk yesterday of targeted stimulus. They floated, I think my numbers might be off a little bit, but I'm right in the right area. I think it was $800 billion package. And then the Senate, that was supposedly a bipartisan float. And then the Senate Majority Leader said, you know what, we'll go with like 470, a half a trillion, you know, with 140 or 170 billion of that coming from unused funds. And then we'll be adding another, few hundred billion dollars. What does the market think of that? I think the market wants a little bit more. It doesn't matter. One way or another, money's going to be flowing in. When I say one way or the other, it doesn't matter if it's coming from a stimulus package. It doesn't matter if it's coming directly from the Treasury, and it doesn't matter if it's coming from the Federal Reserve. 2021 is going to look a lot like 2020 with massive, massive amount of stimulus coming into the markets. What does that generally mean for equities? What does that generally mean for, what should it mean here for, well, for all assets? For all assets, right? Here we go. So what else are we looking at? Let's take a look at some other things that we missed. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen is kind of interesting here this morning. Let me come back to the 8-hour where we live. You could see that it is coming in for a beautiful retest of this area, right? This is something to keep a mindful watch on, because if this holds and resumes off, I see a wave. I finally see a beautiful wave in the markets. I'm going to keep going over there. And we'll go back into gold in 1 second. So, yeah, sell Bitcoin and buy Apple, everybody. That's probably the best trade you can make for sure. Thank you, Brad. Definitely appreciate that. Let's keep going over here. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. It looks beautiful here, pulling back very orderly into that broken area of resistance. Let's see if it holds as support. Let's take a look around at all the green flags. The pound New Zealand dollar, right? Resuming out of that. Again, what do you keep it simple? You want to be successful, keep it simple. Sell resistance in downtrends, buy support in uptrends. We had the euro US dollar. This one over here, I want to take a look at. I really want to take a look at, again, this is similar to what I just looked at the euro US dollar. Pay attention. We are coming into that resistance right now, but here's what was missed. For a long time, this was very clear to all of us. We were following this beautiful trend line over here. Yep, tried to break out over here, but never a resumption. Kept you out of a trade over here. And then again, in this area, we tried to poke out above, but by then we had this outer trend line as well. So we had both these trend lines over here. Here's where I'm bringing our focus. I was looking if there was a rejection right over here to go short over there, because it seemed to me after 1-2 touches down over here of that horizontal support that this was becoming more fragile, and a resumption off of here would have bought a nice entry for perhaps coming in here to test that support again, maybe break it down. As you get closer to the pinnacle here, it's always a good idea, in my opinion, if you get a resumption off of the resistance or a resumption off the support, to buy off the support, sell off the resistance ahead of time. But that didn't happen. We never got the resumption down. What happened instead was this, and this is what I really want to bring your attention to, is that we popped out above the outer second line over here, right? That should have been an indication to myself and all of you to be paying attention to what was going on. And then you came in for the retest, right? And the resumption off. That should have been a buy signal for myself and each one of you. Something to pay attention to right now, so that as that happens again, because guess what? It's going to happen again a million more times, whether or not it's on this pair or another pair or on a different instrument. That's what happens. It's what the market does. Breakout, retest, resumption. Be aware of it as it's happening next time to get a hold of that. Those are some good opportunities. Australian dollar, US dollar, right? So Australian dollar is weak, right? So you see that with the weak dollar, right? The Australian dollar still technically is above the breakout area. That's all very good and healthy, but the Australian dollar is lagging everything else, right? Heath pointed to that over here on the Australian dollar, Swiss franc breaking down over there. The euro is making gains towards new yearly highs. Australian dollar is currently lagging. Does that have to do with the pressure that China is putting on Australia? Like they're turning the screws every which way? Probably. All right. Just making a mental note over here. Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Let's take a look at it. I hope you have your lattes ready. I wish I could drink lattes. I miss lattes. Unfortunately, no dairy for myself. I just go with that straight up coffee. We're without matcha this week. That's fine. We'll be back soon. Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Let's take a look at what happened over here during London. Myself, including stalking this pair over here, watching as we're above that multi-year trend line over here. Is that multi-year? I'm not sure about that. Let me make sure. Yeah, the multi-year trend line going back quite a while, about 5 years over here. And, you know, look what happened over here. This is the Asia time bar. The Asia price bar over here was an up price bar over here. Okay. Now, what is your entry if you're looking to entry during London? You're looking for the higher high than the previous price bar. Okay. Not the body, the wick. That sends you right over here. That's your entry right over there if you're looking to enter. It's always when buying the high plus the spread plus 1 pip of the previous price bar, right? When selling, minus 1 pip. But over here, you're looking to buy. Where do you set your buy order? It's not the close of the body. It's the high of the wick of the previous price bar. That's the entry. Where's your stop loss? It's still got to be below this area over here, not just below the trend line over there, below this little bit of horizontal support that we peaked into. Why? Because you know you're wrong. If you come down over here and take out your stop on this trade, you're wrong on the trade. It's time to get out. That's it. Vance, what's going on? So listen, you know, it's not as if I moderate comments. We don't do that in here. We're all adults. But just be careful. Anyone who's talking about shorting Bitcoin in a bull market has absolutely no idea about anything whatsoever. Just a dangerous comment. I wish it could be highlighted as very dangerous. Do not short. Everyone, I don't even have to say that. Everyone here knows that. That's silly stuff. Yeah, now we'll be able to have some oat milk is delicious. Absolutely. Oat milk is delicious. Thanks for that reminder. I like that. Nice. Shout out over there. That's not so Kips. I want to highlight this comment. By the way, Friday after Thanksgiving, we missed you. We played your track Autumn a couple of times. We played it again yesterday. Everyone loves it. Thanks, Kip. Kip has been saying, by the way, now there's a difference between getting on what's right, and then timing is everything, and that's for everyone. Timing is the most difficult part. Kip has been bringing to our attention now for quite a while, right? What's going on there between Australia and China, and it looks like right now it's starting to weigh on the strength of the Australian dollar. Everyone keep that in the forefront of their mind. Euro, Australian dollar. All right, let's check it out. All right, breaking levels, right? Breaking levels. It's amazing, don't you think? Isn't that amazing how the support here held over here? There's not much to say or add. We're now obviously towards the upper half of this box we're in. Here's the midpoint level, and we just took out that level. But when I say there's not much to say, I mean we still got to clear to the upside and then affirm that before this starts getting in play. Right now, we're still consolidating, and this is an area, I'll call it a junky area for a long time. I don't want to be involved whatsoever where price remains in that consolidation area. All right. So what else? I don't think we've looked at Bitcoin this morning. I don't think we've looked at Ethereum. Let's take a look at WTI really quick before we do. We got 392 likes with 1,300 people in there. That's the core group. Definitely grateful for it. All right. So WTI, look at this. This is interesting. It broke down outside of the lower support of that bull flag and is now back into the pattern over there. Pay attention only if it breaks to the upside off of that, right? Anytime you get a fake breakout or breakdown and then immediately break out to the other side, that's normally a very either bullish or bearish signal, depending on which way you're going with it. So watch out for that. Let's check out from there. We didn't take a look at gold, right? The reason I avoided gold this morning was because after that big, like someone, I mean, that looked like clear manipulation to me yesterday on the precious metals. It was as if someone, down at, trading down at the COMEX knew ahead of time that today they would be floating out some type of like negotiations on the stimulus package, because before any headlines came across, it was being priced into gold and silver. Nevertheless, you know what to do after the breakout like that. If you're starting or want to be looking at taking a position, you have to wait for some type of confirmation that yesterday's price action only brought our attention to perhaps take a look at them. Let me go ahead and resume that down. Look at that. All right, that's pretty neat if we're breaking about above this now, right? So just watch, right? Is this any type of over the last 24 hours after the spike up during New York? Are we starting to see consolidation? Is this something that I would like to take a look at yet? Not just yet, but I'm going to say it's bullish breaking outside of that trend line, but not yet. And silver, let's take a look at silver 1 second. And Bitcoin's always moving, but normal 1, 2, 3% moves in either direction, that's just noise. Silver, how does that look? It looks almost the same as gold. You don't think so? Well, welcome to the world. Happy to have you here with us. Really looking forward to really giving you some type of semblance of understanding what's going on with the markets, right? Because if you think Bitcoin's moving right now, Bitcoin is not doing anything right now. It's just being Bitcoin. All right, so let's take a look at Ethereum, right? Ethereum, interesting price action in the fact that it's done this, right? It's right now made a higher high into that resistance over there at 621, right? It remains to be seen whether or not now we start making higher lows. Either which way, it's a matter of time before we take out this 621 resistance level. And when we do it, right, then we're next targeting 817. So Ethereum is kind of like clockwork, right? Bitcoin is definitely like clockwork. And right now, Brandon really, really, really made an interesting observation. Anyone who's focused in on altcoins right now, he made the observation that instead of focusing on any US dollar pairs, he's focusing all his efforts on altcoins versus Bitcoin pairs. Obviously, right now, you want to be holding Bitcoin over dollars. And if you're looking to increase your Bitcoin exposure, you're looking right now to take advantage of any altcoins that might be making gains against Bitcoin. Alan pointed out over here, DOT possibly getting ready to break out to the upside. And also Ethereum also possibly here. Both look like they're potentially getting ready to not only break out, but break out hard against it. How long have I been trading Bitcoin? Well, fair to say that this is Conquer Trading and Investing. And I think it's very fair to say that when it comes to Bitcoin, I'm an investor, right? We have, I guess, actually, in all of 2020, I only put on one trade on Bitcoin. The rest have all been accumulations and investments, right? My time horizon for holding Bitcoin and for tax purposes is not trading it. It's making an investment or investments around the cycle. This is Conquer Trading and Investment. The only little bit of a swing trade that we put on here together, and by the way, it was an absolute masterclass of masterclasses. It was a masterclass of masterclasses, timing and everything. I timed that breakout of that trend line with you all, right? Then we had the breakout over there. Then after consolidating right over here, I said it's time to put on a swing trade on Bitcoin. I explained why the stop loss was here. And then after that, I explained why the first take profit was over here, and that was taking off 40% of the trade. That happened a few days later where we took off at about 15% profit, 40% of the trade. And then I said the other 60% stays and is holding. That trade right now is about 100. What is that? Just for fun. Let's see what it is, right? So there you go. That is right now 68% in profit, the other 60%. How long have I been trading Bitcoin? I think if you're trading Bitcoin, I've said it over and over, you're doing it wrong. Trading is for FX. Focus your swing trading on FX. Make your constant gains over there. If you're trading Bitcoin right now, you're doing it wrong. Go back to 3 ways to trade Bitcoin during the bull market phase. And that's how you need to mentally prepare yourself. But at the same time, I could say a lot longer than you. And that's all I could really add to that. So, and if you're scalping Bitcoin, you're definitely doing it wrong. The higher your time preference in whether it's trading or investing, just as it works out, the greater your chances of success. There's a reason for that. All right. Yeah, market's not really caring about any vaccines news this morning. So, by the way, I'm going to have, this is probably you have the opportunity right now to deal with someone, to plug into a community that, by the way, is by far, the amount of knowledge in this community here is absolutely, you're not going to find it anywhere else. It's clear anyone has been here. But if you're in here asking questions about like how long I've been trading Bitcoin or how long I've been holding Bitcoin, either one of those are poor questions. They're really poor questions. And if you're looking to better yourself, right? If you're looking to up your skill set, you really have to think about and work on the questions you are asking, because asking questions is good. You always want to ask questions to learn, but you want to think about the questions you're asking, because both those questions do nothing to better your own knowledge. Those are weak questions. I don't even know why I feel that both the only 2 weak questions add in here, but they're really, I guess it's because, some people ask questions, other people are listening. You have to really formulate good questions that could really better your knowledge. Either one of those questions are both weak questions. You're not going to get anywhere asking the wrong questions. You're better off watching and observing. That's for sure. Hold on one second. I got to actually go ahead and bam Matthew Kennedy here, because Mrs. Mary Clinton, right? I'm currently with her, my 5th grade teacher, and she's absolutely outperforming the market. You really want to send her a Bitcoin, and she's going to send you back 2 Bitcoins. Right? Here we go. So, Bitcoin basically unchanged on the day, off its lows, traded down to 18,300 this morning, is just currently hugging this trend line over here. It's a 50-50 coin toss whether or not we're able to get back above this trend line, which will set off a new leg upwards, or whether or not we have a deeper correction over here. If we do not close above this trend line over here, if we start resuming off of this trend line, focus on the 3-day. You ever notice when I look at Bitcoin, I'm not looking at the 8-hour time frame. I'm not even looking at the 12-hour time frame. I'm looking at the 3-day. I'm filtering out noise, trying to give perspective of what my time preference is here on Bitcoin. And that's the larger picture over here. If we are rejected and start making lower lows over here, watch out what happens down over here, right around 17,000. It's this trend line over there. You could see that we held it last time on the spike down, right? And then, if we close below that, then we are seeing that 30% correction targeting 13,800. Not happening right now. Right now, we're 50-50 onto that line right there. It could go either way. We'll see what happens. Johnny, glad to have you here with us. Thank you, everyone who's smashing the like button. Thank you. We got Jordan Henderson also talking about Miss Mary Clinton over here. It's amazing, hold on, just to get rid of the spammers because they could, it's amazing because if these people spent half the amount of time looking to build something creative, could you imagine what they would do? Instead, they're just trying to there we go, gone. All right. Miss Mary Clinton, you know, I'm clapping for all the spam bops. I'm trying to get rid of them. We might have to get a moderator or two in this channel. What do you guys think? Let's take a quick vote, huddle up. Would it be better to have some moderators in here to deal with spam bops and stuff like that? Or is it not something that bothers you? Your thoughts on entertaining an altcoin basket versus, accumulating slowly forever? It seems like we clearly would like some moderators in here. Cameron, absolutely. Could you send me an email right now? Right? And just with the subject headline, what your username is, Cameron Tribe, but just send it to my email and I'll take care of that first thing this morning. Thank you, Cameron. Anyone else interested, please let me know. Right? Charlie Brown, you have to have experience with Miss Mary Clinton. That's for sure. Yeah, I have no problem getting moderators in here. It's obviously. So let me go back. Kips. Well, Kips is more than a moderator because Kips is like a contributor. But there we go. If you'll pay me, yeah. Look at this guy. Yeah, you're exactly who I want to be a moderator. Oh, there we go. All right. That's right. There it is. This is Nicolas de Jesus. Anything that's going to keep me focused on sharing the wisdom is worth doing. I think it'll be an asset for here. Anyone who's interested, there we go. So, by the way, the question is what I recommend, a basket of alts, or would I recommend, let me pull this up as I explain this to you. Now, I recommend Bitcoin, and I recommend Bitcoin lightly leveraged. When I say recommend, I mean that's what I'm doing. My focus is on Bitcoin. My eyes, my energy, my attention is focused on the trade that matters. That's Bitcoin. Now the markets are the markets, and right now maybe someone's like their focus is on oil, or maybe your focus is like maybe you're holding on to a milkshake right now, and your focus is on the dollar, and you've discerned that the smartest trade you can make right now is betting everything on the dollar, right? I don't know why, but maybe that's your thing. So you have all your money tied up long dollars here, even after this huge macro event that occurred over here, and then the technical breakdown, and you still decided, you know what? I'm going to stick to my story, and I'm long dollars. You could put your money wherever you want. You could put your money in oil and had it gone nowhere for the past several months, right? Or you could put your money in what you think matters the most and for what reason, right? But altcoins, they historically outperform Bitcoin. You're looking at a chart over here. I'm going to put up the top 70 altcoins versus, the top 10 in green and Bitcoin in orange. We only need Bitcoin, right? Look, altcoins and a basket of altcoins, top 70, are going to outperform Bitcoin, in my opinion. There's a lot more speculation there. Now, if you put in the top 20, you could see that it's pretty close to the top 70. Yes, there's clearly the top 20, the top 70 outperform the top 20, but I think I'd prefer the top 20 because it's easier for me to manage, right? Now, could you trade through Bitwise? Maybe. If you could trade through their basket over here, it makes sense because what they're doing as a new cryptocurrency enters the top 20, they're adding it to their basket. It's kind of like an index, right? Whether it's the S&P or the Nasdaq, it's constantly being adjusted and weighted. So if you could invest through Bitwise, through their index, it makes sense. Or you can make your own top 20 portfolio and understand that it's going to probably, nothing's a given, outperform Bitcoin, and by a large margin, right? Look at that. That's a 6,000 return compared to a 1,300% return. By a big margin, it should outperform Bitcoin. I think it's easier than going ahead and picking like an alt basket. Like maybe right now you want to pick a basket of Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Ethereum, Bitcoin, and dot Bitcoin. Yeah, maybe adding several more in the top 20 against Bitcoin. That's something to explore. That's fun stuff to do, right? That's that's really fun to kind of like work out and do and put together. I guess I'm middle-aged now. I'm just more focused right on Bitcoin. But yeah, that works. Mike, I'll include the link right over here. This is, if you just, here, I'll just include the link. That'll be much easier. Jordan, why do you go to Bitcoin when the altcoins have such a higher rate of return? Right. So, all right, Robin, this is a great question. So we talked about before quality of questions and questions that could help you as opposed to really poor flexes, I guess you could call them. Just really poor flexes. Because a flex should be a flex, right? Robin's asking a beautiful question here. So Jordan, you've shown us that you believe altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin. Why would you be focused on Bitcoin now? So here's the thing. Come back over here really quick. When I'm talking about, top 20 outperforming Bitcoin by a factor of 5, that's a substantial thing. There are people, like if you live in New York, you don't have a lot of options, right? In New York, you might only have an option to things like Litecoin or XLM or Cardano or whatever. Then you can't use leverage Bitcoin. It might make sense having a basket of altcoins. If you could use Bitcoin lightly leveraged, in my opinion, if we ran into some type of crisis in 2021 and there was pressure, the altcoins are going to get smacked, right? And Bitcoin, not as much. Like Bitcoin to me is a safer investment. I'd rather use it lightly leveraged than invest in altcoins. As well as at the end of the day, I want to own Bitcoin and I don't want to own altcoins. Most people who own altcoins, they're doing it with the intention of being able to buy more Bitcoin. That's why most people speculate in altcoins, because they're doing it with the intention that they could one day accumulate more Bitcoin. So I'd rather focus right on Bitcoin. You could do it whichever way you have preference. There's more than one ways to do it, and you could do whichever one you want. It's hard. All right. So anyway, I saw a question, a statement, a comment that the moves to electric vehicles have already happened. I don't think that is even remotely the case. And the reason I say that, if you look at California starting to, set by 2030, electric vehicle requirements, that's just one state. That's California. That's not, the norm across the country. That's not the norm for all different countries, which is inevitably coming. Whether or not electric vehicles leave a lower carbon footprint than the gas guzzlers, that's something that you should all research. Actually, the electric vehicles leave a bigger carbon footprint, but a lot of people, right, feel good when they're charging their electric vehicle. They think that they're helping the environment. So I guess that's something. But we're going to see a massive move, especially right now if Georgia turns blue and we have a Biden presidency. If that were to occur, you would see a massive, massive push. This is why we looked at, when Kips brought the trade to our attention, that we were also seeing the United States take in Brazil. They made an investment into a nickel mine and copper mine because they see where this is going in the future. Okay, where are we? Let's keep going over there. How far are we into this session, by the way? We are currently almost 1 hour into the session. Where are we bringing this now? What are we going to look at now? I'm going to just go ahead and focus back on some charts and see where it takes us. Here, looking at nickel, though, is a good place to start. This looks very inviting over here. This looks like a beautiful opportunity to go ahead, a resumption off over here if we hold to get long here. on nickel. You could see, and the reason I say that is because we're tracking this long channel that's developing. This is the line we're focused in on right now. We've recently broken above it and are now retesting it once and now a second time. It looks very, very good over there. Copper, we already looked at. Palladium. Palladium's the hard one for me to get a read on. It looks really, really bullish, no question about it. But as far as picking out an entry into it, I don't have it. And platinum, after breaking out over here, just offering, look at this. I didn't even notice that she's, just look at the structure, because sometimes it's really beautiful just to look at the structure. And you could see this channel after the breakout, this rising channel, the breakout, the retest, and now resuming off it again. It's just very, very, very beautiful to see. TA is beautiful. I have no idea. How far do I think the dollar will drop? I have to be honest. And anyone, I mean, what's great about YouTube is all the videos are right there in the library. I was a huge dollar bull going into the beginning of the year up until right over here, and it became a dollar bear, even though I was a dollar bull, right? The charts are the charts. How long will that continue? Well, we're just breaking down again now. There's no sign of a reversal. This whole area, I went neutral on the dollar, right? With trying to go long once, right? I went long the dollar, but I was neutral the dollar because the dollar was sideways and neutral. And it was right here where I first went neutral, right? And now we are obviously breaking back down out of the blue box. Now, again, anytime under that trend line, we're strongly bearish the dollar. Get it back above that trend line, we flip neutral. Right now, we would need to break above 93.50 to get bullish on the dollar. So when that happens, I have no idea. That's what would need to happen right now for that to change, right? So hold on to your milkshake. It could be a while. That's fine. As long as I'm generating clicks, I don't really care if, so, there we are. I hope some people are able, the more time we spend together, to get my little bit of humor, That's right. If Georgia, thanks for Chris for clarifying that. I didn't know there was any type of discrepancy, but what I'm talking about, if Georgia in the Senate rate, I think it's January the 3rd or 4th, the vote, if that turns blue at that point, and if Biden wins the presidency at that point, right? Because we still don't have a winner yet. Is that the 14th? We should have a winner of the presidential election. I hope so. But here we are. There's nothing like spoiled milk. Listen, it's a great theory. The dollar milkshake theory is a fantastic theory. For real. It's a great theory. And I think it played out over here. I think this was the dollar milkshake theory, right? This was, the system was broken. There was a shortage of dollars. That's the dollar milkshake theory right there. It worked. It's a good theory. And it could work again in the future. But going back into March, I said, look, we just had a crisis. The Fed overreacted. I think it's going to be a long time before we have another crisis. And I put some crazy numbers out there, right? Like even 6 years. I don't know what it will be. We'll have another crisis. But right here, imagine the respect had, Brent Johnson, the creator said, all right, well, you know what? The Fed just injected a massive amount of liquidity into the markets. Technically, we're breaking down over here. I'm going to have to pause on the dollar milkshake theory here because we should see a weaker dollar. Instead, he said, oh, we'll never see below 96 this year. And here we are trading down at the yearly low right now. I don't have respect for anyone who, comes up with a theory and then sticks to that theory no matter what's happening, because you're not trying to be right in that point. At that point, you're trying to go to that old, used to be years ago in the industry, you would, pick a macro point and like Peter Schiff, I'm long gold no matter what, right? Listen, at the top of the bull market in Bitcoin, there's no one more bullish on Bitcoin than me, right? There's no one more bullish on Bitcoin than me. There's no one more leaned into the trade more than myself either. right? But at the same time, as Bitcoin reaches its bear market cycle, I'm not going to tell you to hold on to Bitcoin, ride down an 80-85% drawdown. That's insane. That's insanity. So there we go. And Peter Schiff talking about gold. Can you imagine the respect that I and everyone would have for Peter Schiff if, back in 2012, 2013, he's like, you know what? It's time to exit gold. We'll accumulate back in later. There we are. Let's look at the markets. All right. So S&P now fighting back, almost unchanged on the day, right? Just getting my awareness here. U.S. equities have been now open a half hour. Nasdaq down 1%. This is actually very interesting over here. Look at the Nasdaq testing now the breakout over here, this channel. If that is support and you resume off there, that's a beautiful place. The Russell, which was trading towards a low, is now off its low of the session. All right. What else? Dollar fading that move over there. Bitcoin not going anywhere. It was down a few percent. It traded up on the day. It's hugging this beautiful. It's beautiful. This line right here, this resistance and or support. We're at a very important level. It's make or break for Bitcoin, but it's not. It could continue consolidating here throughout the rest of the week into the weekend. Let's see what happens. Ethereum. I don't know. I feel like we have a good feel. Anything we want to look at? Silver. No, there's nothing nuts with that. Andrew's correct, right? There's nothing wrong with that, but you lose all respect. That's all. You become a shill, right? Peter Schiff, if you were to play a game and I say, what's the first word that comes to your head? And we're at a party and then you open the piece of paper, it said Peter Schiff, your first word that will come to your mind would be shill. It wouldn't be gold, right? That's how he's labeled himself. You want to take a look at Link? Rich, thank you, my brother. Appreciate that. There we go. Miguel. Peter Schill. There we go. Let's take a look at Link and then we'll take a look at XRP. Let's take a look at them both. Here's Chainlink right now, right? So, by the way, just let me give you a little bit of feedback over here as I get into Link and as I get into XRP. On Bitcoin over here, right? I was clearly, so just real quick, just in case you're just joining us, this will take no more than 10 seconds. As Bitcoin was over here, almost into 14,000, almost everyone was looking for the pullback. I wrote a tweet and I said, if you're looking for the pullback now at this time, you're wrong. Recheck your math. We came all the way towards 18,000. At around 18,000, between 18,000 and 21,000, we're looking for that first pullback, right? And I took a little bit of profit off at 18,932 for 2/9 of my tradable position. I was looking for a 30% pullback. We only pulled back 15%. I wound up taking a $300 hit, buying back in on those 2/9 at 19,200, right? Now, the reason I'm just setting the stage of where we are. As we were here, 15% pulled back, the question came up in the Telegram group, what's a good place to buy Ethereum, right? And I gave two levels. I said 506 and 441. The 506 got filled. The 441 never did. As we were trading right over here at 485, as Bitcoin was down 15%, I thought that there was a strong possibility we were going to trade back further on Bitcoin, trade back towards that 13,900 area, right? Trade off another 15%. I thought that Ethereum would get the fill down here as well. That didn't happen. We're back now towards that resistance up at 600. And I also thought that Chainlink had a very strong possibility of trading down towards $9.80. That didn't happen as well. So what this has taught me, by the way, as I've been looking for these 30% pullbacks on Bitcoin, and they've only been 15, 20%. I'm still believe that we could still 30% pullbacks. And at the same time, I'm ready now that we won't. Okay? Look, that's me saying, I'm not holding on to my milkshake, and I'm not saying there's going to only be 30% pullbacks because I said it and therefore it has to be that. No, I only want to know what's right, and the market is showing me something different right now. And it's not to say that there won't be 30% pullbacks, but right now, the market is showing that there's some serious demand there, and 20%, 15% seem to be all that it's willing to go, right? So Chainlink, by the way, I thought it was going to pull off a little bit further. It didn't, but you see it right now trading above 13.25. That everyone who's been watching this channel knows that that was a very important line. The area between $12.90 and 13.25, right? Originally 12.90 moved up to 13.25. That was above there, the very bullish. And look how quick we went to 16.50. I said if we broke above there, we would come into 16.50 very quick. It happened in a matter of days. And then we came off hard on that Bitcoin pullback. And look, we're back above it, resuming off. This offers opportunity here right now, because if you go long link, you have to put your stop right below that 12.90 support. We all know that level, right? You could see that already since making the low. We've already confirmed that once. If you trade back below that, it's time to get on the sidelines. However, right now, resuming off there, that's an opportunity with a really good risk reward coming back into 16.50. And guess what? Odds are next time we take a look at 16.50, we break it. So look, Link. So Link is offering ample opportunity this morning just from a risk to reward perspective alone, right? Risking 0.5%, risking 1% here on crypto, right? In order to make 2 or 3 just into the resistance. You're not taking profit here. You'd be looking to move your stop loss to break even. Take a small piece? Yeah, sure. Take 20% off. Fine, whatever. But you're looking to push that trade, right? What about on XRP? Ooh. Do you think he owns Bitcoin, Kenneth? Do you think he owns Bitcoin? Dr. Copper. Some great comments and insights all the time. It would be even neater if the moderator, which they couldn't do. Thank you, Clint. I'm glad I caught that comment. Thank you, my brother. It would be really awesome if someone could highlight all these amazing comments being shared all the time. I don't know that that's possible, but anyway, here we go. So we're looking at XRP, right? XRP, trying to get a feel. Let me move down to the 3-day, right? Oh my goodness, what did Ripple do? Ripple is ripping. I've said it so many times that, the thing about XRP is that the company Ripple owns it, and they rip it in your face and then dump. Look, this is what, like a rip, a rip, a rip, a rip. And what happens every rip, usually you see it then being sold. Is that happening now, or are we now entering the bull market, right? Well, listen, the only thing I'm going to say about this is, generally speaking, from the price behavior of XRP, after it rips, generally it then dwindles down, right? Now, I don't think we're at any type of stage of the market like this. This is the climax of the bull market. And you could see after the rip, there was a little bit and then another rip. I don't think we're here right now. We're more towards, not even here yet. We're back down over here. So right now, after this rip, I think it's a good place to take profit on XRP, right? Wait for some type of consolidation and then look for the next leg up. From a risk to reward over here right now, I would just be staying away. If you look at, for example, look at waves, right? Because you could see what happened to waves going back about a month ago, and it ripped like this. And then what happened is what XRP should be doing now. It consolidated for a while, right? It consolidated, and then it just set up for the next rip up. And I think XRP is going to have many more rips to the upside during this alt season. It's just that right now, you're like right here. You just had that rip up. Give it a minute here. Let it consolidate. Let it reset before it rips up again. And that's the best perspective I could give you on Ripple. You just ripped up, you're right here, right? So you're right here, right now. I would, the risk to reward right now is not on your side. I would let it reset a little bit. No, I don't think that he represents the Rothschild group at all. I don't think so. I think he has a good business where he sells gold, and the way that he sells gold, I mean, Peter is by the way, I learned a lot from Peter going back 15 years ago. There's no question about it. And I like what Peter has to say. I think he's correct on just a very long time frame. And that's the thing, is that, like, whether it's not, 2 years from now, tomorrow, or 5 years from now, Peter Schiff will be like, look, I was right. Or Peter, back in 2022, as Bitcoin dumps and gold is hopefully trading at all-time highs, Peter could be like, look, that was a bubble. It's popping. I told you to be in gold. And he's going to sound correct. He's not correct because he's not invested all into Bitcoin right now. And instead, he's pushing gold. And I'm saying to you, listen, as we exit Bitcoin, I don't care what the price of gold is, probably be looking at some Pax Gold at that point. Anyway, so grateful. That's beautiful. We love to see that. We love to see that. That's awesome. For everyone in CTM right now, by the way, we have a training session on Friday. That's going to be at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. I sent out an email this morning. I sent it out into the Telegram group, and I will let you know on Friday as that session gets started. Yeah. Peter was good from 2008 through 2012. That's a good. Peter's taken up enough space in our CTM, conquering the markets. The course below. What else are we looking at today? Did anyone want to look at a Tesla, Amazon, right? So, we didn't hit 600. Yeah, we did. We did hit 600. Listen, just Tesla, the way that I view this is that historically, as an instrument is added to the index, that's its interim high. I don't think Tesla will be any different unless we receive a massive stimulus package that sends the indexes just bazooka upwards. Then at that course, Tesla will be participating as well. Here's a look at Amazon now testing the resistance here. Amazon testing the resistance, right? And Apple also, right? You all remember when we gave the friendly shout out over here was time to buy Apple, right? Now is the time to take a little bit of profit and look to see if you could push that or break out to the upside. Yeah. I don't know anything about Michael Burry. Actually I do. It seems to me that he nailed just a couple of months ago that he really nailed these options on the tech, right? That his portfolio was heavily weighted towards buying options. I think he had a lot of Apple. I'm not sure, maybe Amazon, but he nailed that trade. He really did nail that trade. Taco miners. Long taquerias. Conquering the markets taqueria. I don't know what Tesla is. I think Tesla is something that if it's around 10 years from now is going to be a juggernaut. That's what I think of Tesla. I think Tesla is something that it's worth taking a small speculative long-term asymmetric bet on. Yeah, so it's Facebook. Great segue. Facebook is introducing the Libra, but they changed the name to the DEMI. I don't know how to pronounce that yet. They changed the name, and it's also going to be pegged to the dollar. So they're like launching a stable coin, Facebook, initially. Now, look, I said it before and I'm going to say it again. Facebook made a huge mistake not just launching Libra. Instead, they were like, hey, look, we're going to launch this. Is it okay? Like, you don't ask permission first. That's not how Silicon Valley does it. You launch with what you have, and then you constantly upgrade. They made a big mistake. They paid the price. Now they're launching their new dollar-backed stable coin, and eventually maybe it'll become a basket of other countries as well. But right now it's just another stable coin. I think it's going to highly increase adoption of Bitcoin, because now every single person on Facebook, my mom, will have the opportunity to go ahead and easily get into that Facebook stablecoin, and from there buy Bitcoin. And now at this point, they're all interested in Bitcoin, especially as Bitcoin is here at the new all-time high. And you're going to start seeing, as Bitcoin starts its moonwalk, all sorts of media coverage of Bitcoin. So I think it's great. I think it's absolutely great for Bitcoin, the Facebook launching its new stable coin. Diem. Sean is saying it's Diem. I don't know if it's Carpe Diem, but it's Diem, huh? So I mentioned yesterday, Kips, I didn't get an answer. I don't know. Maybe I get you on the phone. But I would love, maybe starting on a Friday, passing the mic over, getting you involved, whether you start even with just a 10-minute presentation or, as much as you could flow. But if you're interested in that, I want to get Heath online as well, as Heath has been putting out those FX videos for us. Again, if you're not subscribed to the Telegram channel, do that. And those are some in 2021 also. I've showed you, VJ, the bullish case for Bitcoin. He said that he would get on here as a guest. I would like to start interviewing some people here and there outside of our regularly scheduled programming to get into some interesting conversations that I would really like to be discussing and talking about. Yeah, I mean, that's not really, that's not really, that doesn't really help your case at all. Let's just say that. Gold, let's take it back. So gold, we looked at early on in the session, and the whole thing with gold is yesterday's price action, which I feel, you don't hear me say that all the time, was very manipulated, right? Nevertheless, here's what's happening since, right? Gold came into the resistance, right? We extended the trend line, came into the resistance, peeled back a little bit, and is now resuming off. It's all very bullish. I don't see the entry for myself, or want it, I should say. I'll be focused on gold, late into 2021. I'm just not really focused in on there right now. Yeah, so that would be interesting too, right? PayPal right now is obviously offering all of their 280 million clients the opportunity to buy Bitcoin, and the buying has been pretty massive last month on PayPal in Bitcoin. Once Facebook has their Carpe Diem token, Carpe Diem, and if PayPal is supporting it and people could buy and transfer money in and buy Bitcoin like that, it's going to really start seeing massive moves. How about we say that? Euro Japanese yen, we took a really good look at on Euro Japanese yen. I suggest moving back the red arrow of the streaming until you find Euro British pound on the stream. Or if you find this pattern over here, it's a very distinct pattern. You'll be able to stop over there and watch what we shared on the Euro British pound. Very good lesson of what happened and what I should have been watching and looking for, because that was conquering the markets all day long. what's the point of US dollar tether? Tether is basically one of the, listen, it would be much better if all the tether was moved into Bitcoin itself instead of parked in tether. But a lot of people use tether for, especially a lot of people in Asia, they use tether. They don't only use tether for buying Bitcoin. They use it for moving currency around the world. There's a huge use case of tether. It kind of is the backbone of all these exchanges. Why they do trade off of other stable coins now. The most of the volume comes off of tether. And listen, does Bitcoin need tether? No. Does tether play a huge role inside the Bitcoin ecosystem right now? Yes. It's all a Bitcoin ecosystem. Altcoins as well. Altcoins right now are set to outperform Bitcoin during Altseason, but it's not about altcoins. It's just about whatever, position Bitcoin is in its cycle. And 6 months after the halving, that's when altcoin starts. It ends about 2 weeks after the Bitcoin bull run. Well, so Wes, the ECB is interested in introducing their own stable coin, the digital euro. So if they don't like stable coins, it's because they don't like competition, right? The US government doesn't like Facebook introducing its stable coin because that's now becomes competition. But that's what it is. And competition is healthy. We want competition. I don't think it's a good idea to use PayPal to buy Bitcoin. You don't own Bitcoin when you use PayPal. You own a piece of paper that is directly reflected to the price of Bitcoin. You cannot take your Bitcoin off of PayPal. Now, for a lot of people, that serves the purpose. Now, if you're a Bitcoiner and you understand Bitcoin, that's a huge red flag. Now, eToro did the same thing. When eToro first started offering Bitcoin purchases, you could not withdraw your Bitcoin. They changed that later. I think PayPal will change that later. Right now, you cannot. I prefer BlockFi personally over PayPal. I like that BlockFi pays you interest on your holdings. I like the company. I like what they're doing. By the way, they're going to be offering, I saw yesterday, this new Visa credit card connected to your BlockFi account that pays 1.5% rewards in Bitcoin on all purchases. It's a neat looking card. In my opinion, it has more status than a Satorium Black card, right? Which we have. But I think that a BlockFi Black card, I think that enough people have the Centaurian, that offers more, I like it better. I want one. So as soon as they go ready, I'll be ready for that. So the neat thing about Tesla, by the way, is that Tesla's not just a car company, right? They're a tech company. They're in it. They're full of innovation. I want Tesla solar panels on my roof. I want a Tesla battery wall. But not even that. As Tesla is gaining all this data, every single Tesla out on the road is putting back data, real-time data, and Tesla has more of it than any other car company, right? Working on that automation, those self-driving cars. Go ahead 10 years in the future, is Tesla going to have a fleet? Are Uber and Lyft at this point dinosaurs because all Tesla owners send out their cars by themselves when they're not using them to earn extra income? Maybe. Does Tesla go ahead and rent out its technology to all the other big car companies who at that point will have really nice electric vehicles? And by the way, maybe you prefer a BMW or Audi or Mercedes SUV to a Tesla because they know how to do high-end luxury. Probably. But if they're using Tesla's self-driving automation software, what does that do for Tesla? So that's Tesla. A target on the platinum trade. So, but by the way, don't get confused. When I'm able to give targets on Bitcoin, that's because Bitcoin is math. I have no idea of what type of targets to be looking for when it comes to gold or silver. I think that the best thing I could say about gold is Look, is gold going to be trading at $10,000 in my lifetime? Well, I don't know what type of odds to place on that, but there are odds that need to be placed on that, right? Do I think we'll see 3,000 gold in 2021? Yeah, I think that there's a strong possibility, that could happen, you know? So there you are. But platinum, I don't, if you're invested in precious metals, I think you're investing in them for the long term, right? They're scarce resources. I don't think that you want to sell them, especially in today's world where we have all of this liquidity that's being perpetually the amount of liquidity and currency is growing rapidly. They're all looking for scarce assets. So I think that the one piece of advice I would tell my 20-year-old self would be stop selling things. Stop selling things. My nephew, who's now, invested in the stock market, he bought and sold Tesla this year, but should he be buying Tesla and holding it for the next 20 years and or longer? Yeah. The same thing with Apple, the same thing with any equities right now, right? But especially when you get into precious metals, right? I don't think, and you also have to ask yourself the question, because I do say, and I'm very vocal about the fact that I believe we're going to see a big bear market in Bitcoin, right? As we enter the fall of 2021 into the winter of 2021. Now, is there a possibility that Bitcoin reaches this mass, this moment in time where, I don't think it happens this cycle, but you better hold on to a little bit just in case. And also think about maybe using services such as like BlockFi or Celsius, where you could lend against your Bitcoin, right? Because maybe you don't want to give up your Bitcoin. You have right now funds, institutions, companies, central banks fighting for Bitcoin, and they're not going to give up their Bitcoin, right? So maybe you would rather lend against your Bitcoin to have a non-taxable event than get rid of your Bitcoin. You have to think about that as well. All right, everyone. I think we're going to put on some music. Yeah. It's possible. So the question is whether or not the Euro-US dollar, now that it's broken out of that massive base, could turn into a swing trade, a position trade. And it's possible, but I have to be on. The only time in 2020 that I said turn your swing trades into position trades, and I was like a broken alarm. Like, guys, now stop thinking swing trades. It's turned these swing trades into position trades, was during late February into March during the crisis. And outside of that type of event, I think you're better off with your swing trades, but maybe try to push it, a few different levels if possible. When we're talking about how long will the bear market be in Bitcoin, so really easy rule of thumb, 15 months, and I'm not going to show you right now why, but I'm going to tell you right now. We could try to look at that tomorrow or this afternoon, but 15 months to the next halving, that's the time to reaccumulate Bitcoin. Okay, 15 months to the next halving. Very, very easy, very simple. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Gemma. JC. Thank you, Jonathan. May God bless you too. Thank you so much. Nice, Jeffrey. Thanks for that feedback, because I don't ever know. Thanks for letting me know. Ah, Jeff. Thank God for the replay. Thanks for all the likes. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for all the love. Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. Thanks, TJ. Just a quick Google search will tell you when the next halving is. Except don't use Google. What? Sean, if someone could get a date 15 months to the next halving for tomorrow's session, otherwise I'll try to do it. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We got to focus on the here and the now. We got to focus on what's in front of us. That's what we got to focus on. John, thank God for that. I'm glad you are, brother. Thank you for that. All right, everyone. It's JC saying it's a great day ahead. Everyone, have a beautiful one. Duck, duck, go. Value your privacy. Thanks, Brad. Appreciate that, my brother. Everyone, I'll talk to you later. Have a beautiful day.